work in a movie theater. I'm usually the cashier, but sometimes I have the responsibility of cleaning the theater. Anyway, one night, my boss told me that I would be responsible for cleaning because some of the staff went home early. I was a bit annoyed because I was super tired and the time was already 12:34 a.m., but I needed the money and I only needed to clean 3 theaters. I packed up my cleaning supplies and made my way to Theater 12. I opened the door and started sweeping up all of the popcorn. I then started wiping the seats. I then used a bin and threw away all of the empty cups. After 15 minutes, I was done. I packed up my supplies and started walking toward Theater 16. I cleaned up all the spills and popcorn grease that was on the seats. After 20 minutes, I was done cleaning. I then walked to Theater 4. I opened the door and started sweeping up the popcorn on the floor. As I was sweeping, I heard a giggling sound. Right when I looked up, the giggling stopped. I looked around, but I didn't see anyone. I then yelled, "Is anyone in here?" But no one answered. So I yelled, "No one is supposed to be here." I was getting annoyed, but I decided to forget about it and started wiping the seats in the first row. After a few seconds, I heard the same giggling sound. I stood there and listened. At this point, I was pissed. The giggling sound slowly started turning into cackling. I was creeped out, but I was also mad. I yelled out in an angry voice, "Who's here?" But I got no response. I started walking up the stairs, and as I was walking up, the cackling sound got louder and louder. As I was walking up, I was getting more and more scared. I started thinking of the worst scenario. I was no longer mad because all the anger was replaced with fear. Right when I got to the 10th row, the cackling stopped. I was super freaked out. I held my breath so I wouldn't make any noise. I started to turn around because I was really scared and wanted to get out of that theater. Right when I turned around, I heard the cackling sound again. I turned back around and looked up the stairs, but I still couldn't see anyone or anything. It was too dark. I started walking back up the stairs. Eventually, I made it to the last row, which was the 16th row. There was a small gap between the seats and the wall. It was about a 1-foot gap. The cackling was so loud and obnoxious. I turned my head to look into the gap. It was dark, but I could still see the face of a creepy guy. He was crouched down and staring up at me. He had a big smile on his face. Right when we made eye contact, he stopped cackling. He raised his finger to his lip and whispered, "Shh." After that, he said loudly, "Boo." Right when he said this, I screamed. I turned around and ran down the stairs. He tried to grab me, but he missed. He chased me down the stairs. He was cackling and screaming. I eventually made it to the big wooden doors. I opened them and closed them in his face. I ran to one of the employees and told him about the man. The employee called the police. A few minutes later, the police arrived and went into the theater. 5 minutes later, the cops came out with a man in handcuffs. The man was cackling and screaming. He was wearing dirty clothes and had greasy long hair. Turns out the man was a serial killer. He's killed 5 total people. He was planning on killing me too, but I escaped. I quit the job a few weeks later. I still have nightmares about the man. I'm just glad that I escaped. Movie nights, man. There's something special about them, you know? Magical. Sharing an experience with someone you really care about. Moments to remember. Doesn't matter if the movie is crap, or the acting is bad, or if there's plot holes all over. In the end, it's all about the people you're with. "Man, you gotta watch this part. You'll love this," I say, popcorn flying all over as I flail my arms around excitedly. Yes, I am one of those people. Freddy doesn't seem to mind. Most people hate it when I talk too much, or when I get a little too animated. But Freddy really gets me, you know? He knows I mean nothing by it. He doesn't even wince, old Freddy. What a champ. Haha, did you see that, man? I punched him playfully in the shoulder. Freddy and I go way back. Old pals, you know? It's Freddy, right? Yeah, has to be. He's got that face. Freddy, Frederick, the F train. A little on the shy side, old Freddy. Doesn't talk much. That's all right though, Freddy. I can do the talking. Freddy, I say, stuffing my face with yet another fistful of popcorn. This is one hell of a movie, man. He'd never admit it, but he loves it. I can tell. He doesn't want to love it, but he does. That's Freddy for you. Don't let those dead old eyes fool you. He's a barrel of emotions, that one. Real softy when push comes to shove. Look at him shaking all leaf-like. Oh, he's feeling it all right. Oh man, this is my favorite part. I nudge him. Remember this part, Freddy? Sure he does. He saw it live not an hour ago. I could tell already that he'd love the director's cut. See, I told you. I leaned forward to get a better angle. I messed up when I cut her throat. There's not enough blood. That's why I had to do the second take. Freddy cheers me on by wailing hysterically. We're all different, Freddy. We all show excitement in different ways. I mean, your wife, that was smooth. I note with professional interest. She bled out in seconds. She didn't fight back like your daughter. Just calmly accepted it. Respect. He's rocking back and forth in his seat wildly. I guess the rope will hold a little while longer. Soon at the end credits now. I gotta say, Freddy, I pat him on the back. This has been an enjoyable evening. We should do it again sometime. Freddy is such a stand-up fellow. He doesn't want me to leave. I can tell. I know Freddy. We go way back. All right, I say, rewinding the tape. Just one more time, yeah? What is this, the 10th viewing? You must really dig this movie, Freddy. Can't say I blame you, though. It's a true masterpiece. Movie nights, man. There's something special about movie nights. Dear Mayor, you'll probably stop reading, crumple up this letter, and throw it in the trash. But I implore you to keep reading. Founded in 1970, Theater 10 revived downtown and provided a safe, fun place for the people of Birmingham to enjoy. Unfortunately, over the years, the theater has transformed into a source of anguish. The disappearance of moviegoers of Theater 10 is still fresh in everyone's mind. My sister, Joan, is among the 23 missing. She attended the screening of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, with her boyfriend. After Joan disappeared, I couldn't eat or sleep for days. There's a hole in my heart that can't be filled. It's been 5 years, but it still doesn't feel real. I feel like I'll get a phone call from Joan, or she'll pull into my driveway with her beat-up blue station wagon and take me hiking. I miss her every day. I understand this theater is a historic landmark, and you don't want to demolish it. You either don't understand or don't care that people feel unsafe visiting or working at the theater, lest we forget about what happened after Theater 10 closed. Several people have survived incidents at Theater 10, and fortunately, I've been able to track down several of them, including a few who were willing to report what they've witnessed. 1975, a customer complained the butter dispenser dispensed pus into his popcorn. 1978, a young married couple visited the theater to watch Halloween. The wife got up in the middle of the movie to use the bathroom. She was gone for an hour, and the husband got worried and searched for her. On the way to the bathroom, he brushed past a paunchy woman with swollen, crusted eyes and cheeks stained with yellow vomit. He found his wife in the bathroom dead, face down in a pile of yellow bile. 1979, an employee discovered human fingers in the popcorn machine. 1980, during a sudden blackout, a little girl disappeared from the arcade. Staff discovered her locked inside one of the arcade cabinets, insisting she was sucked into the game. 1982, several customers complained about bombastic patrons covered in bruises, scabs, and rashes. ruining their movie experience by talking during the film, chucking popcorn at them, and kicking the back of their seats. When asked to stop their obnoxious behavior, they responded by coughing on or scratching them. 1983. An employee went on their smoke break behind the theater and was found headless, cigarette in her hand, still lit, body leaning against the brick wall behind her. Even stranger, guests of Theater 10 claimed Cujo cut out and footage from behind the building played on screen. The footage was a young woman smoking, then two hands emerged from behind her and tore her head off. 1988. A group of teens broke into Theater 10. According to the witness, this is what happened. The auditorium smelled like stale vomit. Sores and blisters covered the other patrons. Coughing and sniffling bounced off the walls, and the audience guffawed at the static on the screen. My friends sat down, and the seat snapped shut on them as a Venus flytrap closes on a fly. I felt like I'd pass out, and I couldn't breathe. The patrons sprang up from their seats and chased me from the theater. 1989. Two brothers broke into Theater 10 to steal movie posters. While exploring the building, a man in a torn black usher uniform accosted them. According to the witness, this is what the usher looked like. Yellow ooze leaked from lesions on his cheeks and sores on his lips. Blood spilled down from his boils on his forehead. Black carbuncles were behind his ears. The usher scratched the other brother during their escape, and he died a few days later. The disturbing nature of these incidents proves something very wrong is happening, and Theater 10 is not safe for the general public. I'm aware that I'm not the first person to write to you concerning the theater. It's a source of pain for so many people. Others may not have been as tactful as me. I'm sure you've had several letters cross your desk accusing you of accepting bribes or certain favors in exchange for reopening Theater 10. For everybody's sake, including your own, this theater must be destroyed. This past December, I was visiting my boyfriend who had recently moved to Seattle for work. It was a rainy day, so we decided to catch a movie with his coworker and her girlfriend. The theater was 2 levels and in a new mall which was still under construction. We entered the theater, took the escalator upstairs, and then decided to use the restroom before the movie began. I should mention that this was the middle of a weekday, and I don't remember seeing any other people on the top floor of the theater. As our 2 friends and I walked back from the ladies' room, we noticed 2 identical-looking men on opposite sides of the theater. They were extremely tall and had sharp features, but what really put us on edge is that they were wearing all black, with black cowboy hats, black gloves, and black trench coats. One of the men was holding a suitcase, and he knelt down and started rummaging through it. My boyfriend rejoined us from the men's room, and we asked if he had noticed the men too. He had, and reported that they had been arguing in the men's room when he walked in. They had stared him down. He had nervously said hi, and they had just continued to glare at him. Thoroughly freaked out and not wanting to take our chances, we decided to go downstairs and report the matter to the front desk. They agreed that what we had seen was concerning, and an employee went upstairs to search for the men. As we waited in the lobby for the employee to return, the man with the suitcase came down the escalator. He looked at us, smirked, and walked out of the theater. Shortly after, the employee returned and told us that he had only seen the one man, the one with the suitcase, and that he had left before he had the chance to approach him. We asked for a refund on our tickets, and the employee was kind enough to give us movie vouchers as well. Nonetheless, we all left feeling very unsettled and unsure of what to make of that encounter.